Hello, hello. What is going on, chat?
Yo, what's up, everybody?
Welcome,
Well,
welcome.
hopefully you can hear both of us. We're setting all this up
Us.
pre-stream, so if you're in my chat or Hobbyist chat, just give us a thumbs up. You can hear both of us and see everything that's going on.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're kind of figuring it out as we go, so don't blame us. Don't blame us, I swear. It wasn't our fault. We're miners, we're not full-time streamers. Cool. So we thought we'd do a kind of a fun little dual live stream tonight with you guys. Looks like chat can hear me, which is good. And just kind of hang out and chat with what's going on in the community, what's been going on with us, and then also kind of a lot of stuff in the news that we can kind of chat with. So how does that sound? We got the what did you say it was? The Fox and Gnome show right here, right?
Yeah, Fox and Gnome.
Dude, that was a clutch title. I'll give it to you.
Yeah, so I know we got quite a few things have been happening this week from EIP-1559.
Yeah.
Hitting us. It's the infrastructure bill going through the Senate right now. I saw somebody already asking about that in my chat.
Yeah.
And then the prices of the market, right, have been like, I was pretty nervous with EIP-1559. I didn't know it was going to happen, but well, here we are.
Yeah, it was interesting. Like day of, I was very like, like how's this going to go? You know, this is kind of my first big shift in the market as a miner for me, being such a young miner. And we went ahead and kind of things kind of approached, and you know, I was really surprised to see not as much shift originally. Like I don't know what I expected. Was there something you expected originally?
I thought I mean, I've been thinking we were going to go really low, like bear market status at some point coming up soon. Yeah, I thought we were just going to keep trending down. I mean, ETH hit what, like 1700?
Yeah, it dipped
just a little bit ago, and I was just like, you know, all right, this is probably all the hype leading up to EIP-1559, so it's rebounding a little bit. You know, that old saying was it, buy the hype, sell the news, and I was like, all right, I bet you there's going to be this big sell-off, and it dipped like a few $100s right as EIP-1559 came out, but then obviously rebounded and really came up to a place that surprised me. You know, what did we get to, like 3150 or something almost, I think?
Yeah, I mean, it's been kind of wild the last few days. I mean, even jumped to yesterday versus today. Quite a significant difference between the two of those.
Yeah, so I mean, I was surprised. I'm happy about it because obviously that's great for us miners, everybody mining ETH, and for me, still cashing out here and there as I can. So
yeah,
that's helping me out.
No, I agree. I think some of the, you know, everything with EIP-1559, I think the biggest thing I noticed was just a lot of the misinformation within the scene. A lot of people, and even myself, I mean, I very much was like, all right, let's just kind of see where this goes and see where it rolls out. You know, really didn't know all the details inside and out. You know, percentages were guesstimates across the board. You know, no one really knew where those payouts were going to end up until we actually got there. And I don't know. I mean, now that we know kind of how this works with the amount that gets burned, the percent that gets burned, and the tip and such like that, do you feel more confident with kind of the direction that it went and more comfortable as to 1559, or does it still seem like that kind of abyss and limbo to you?
I mean, I hate the whole thing. Hate the whole thing.
Okay.
But that's speaking as a true miner.
Yeah.
I just feel like, you know, the roadmap was always to go proof of stake at some point, which is going to happen with Ethereum. That was, you know, as a miner, you can't say, oh man, what are they doing? That was in the cards since the beginning. So you know that going on, but EIP-1559 was just something that was just like made and came out. And like, I feel like that all happened so fast.
Yeah.
And it, like, you know what, from the miner standpoint, just it burns all the fees. Like, we've been supporting this network the whole time, and that was our lifeblood, was getting all those gas fee rewards. And like the argument was a couple of things that I heard when I was on some of those developer calls listening in. You know, one of them, it would make fees more predictable. Yeah. Which, you know, I haven't really looked too much into that at this point. And the second was, which I hated to hear, was the developer saying that it will increase the price of Ethereum because it will burn Ethereum, and, you know, not as much Ethereum will go out into the wild. So
they're looking at like a supply. Yeah, they're looking like a supply and demand metric. And so they're hoping that, okay, if we get rid of some of it, that means that there's less being created. Yeah, I actually, I think I was listening to the stream that Chump Chains and TechShenji was doing last night. And who else was it? Max Voltage. And they had reached out, one of the devs, and they had talked about the fact of like what happens with it, what is burned. Have you heard a lot about that or no?
Say that again. What happens?
So what happens with the ETH that's burned?
Nothing. That's it. It's gone forever.
Well, so yeah, so like there's no wallet associated to the direction it goes. So there's no like complete confirmation that like it gets destroyed. It just goes nowhere. So it's kind of in this limbo. Not that it's accruing anything. And so I had read an article where someone was saying, well, if someone figures out some crazy way to hack that, it would be a mess. Like to force that, you know what I mean? Like to force that to go somewhere versus just out in the middle of nowhere, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Hey, let me say hi to some people in this chat here.
Go for it. You know what? I'll mute you for a minute. Let's just say hi to people and I'll do the same. How's that sound?
All right, cool.
Perfect. All right, so let's see who's in chat right now. I have been neglecting the people. Let's see here. So let's see who came out to say hello tonight. Call Miner is here. Let's see. Podward, thank you. Doge Lord. SSG, hello. Wavy pushing that smash and subscribe. I like it. Appreciate you guys. Brendan Rich is here. I'm supporting ETC. It's a good call. You like the elevator music? There you go. What's up, Rob? Hello. If the elevator music's a little too loud, please let me know. My goal is not. What's up, Aaron? Golden. Let's see who else is being chatty. Kathy's in chat. Lewis is here. Hey, Lewis. Paladin. Where's the beat? I didn't do a beat on the intro. SSG, thank you for the 90. I think that's pounds, right? 99 pounds. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Taines, MC, John, Jermaine is here. George. Hi, guys. How are you? Say my name. Gerger. We'll go with Gerger. Hey, guys. How are you? Welcome. All right, let's jump back here. All right, we're back.
All right, I'm good.
You're good.
You.
Wow,
yeah,
man.
I talk faster.
I've
been practicing my fast voice for shorter YouTube videos. So.
Oh man, yeah. Good luck with that one. Everybody watches them on 1.5 speed anyway. You know, it's like. I totally understand. Yeah. So EIP-1559, I think it's definitely taken us a unique direction. I think I'm not surprised, but I didn't expect ERGO to break out on that day the way it did.
Yeah, I was looking at the network hash rate too. What was that? The net hash almost doubled the amount of miners on ERGO. It's come down a bunch since. But I saw that. I was like, whoa, that is crazy.
Yeah, I did notice a lot of those changes that did occur with ERGO and the hash rate and stuff, and I was really surprised to see like ERGO take off again. I mean, ERGO has kind of been back and forth. You know, it's kind of gone all over the place over the last, I don't know, few months. What was it back in? Let's see. I'm just kind of following our trends here, looking to see. There was a big spike in March. Yeah. So, but I was really surprised to see where it was taking off. I was kind of happy. I have quite a heat problem, so I'm kind of happy to swap from Ravencoin to ERGO.
Dude, you have no idea. I just filmed a video today mining on that 3070 Ti rig I built, mining ERGO. And I just put it actually back in my grow tent, and it's just so nice and cool on those GPUs in there. I was like, man, I really want to mine Ravencoin, but I don't know how I'm going to manage all that heat that those things are going to generate, you know?
Yeah, I had 12 470s on Ravencoin, and it was taking up 2,150 watts for that entire rig alone.
Yeah.
And I was like, one, from electricity perspective, I was like, nope. And then from the perspective of heat, it was just ridiculous. So I swapped that over to ERGO, and I have that on ERGO right now. And I still, it's really funny. So like all my GPUs that I have gotten a little behind on, you know, maintenance on replacing the thermal paste are really coming to light right now. Really coming to light right now. A little toasty for my own good.
Dude, they the 3070 Ti rig mining at the wall, mining Raven was 1500 watts. Mining ERGO is 900 watts.
Oh, it's insane.
Such a difference.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, no matter if the project's good or not, I think miners will like it just for the fact that the algorithm is so GPU friendly and reduces all your wattage and your heat and all of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Ravencoin would break out even more than I think it already has. I mean, the nice thing about Ravencoin is there's so many projects behind it. It gives you a little more confidence with it, and I've been happy. You know, I've been mining Ravencoin since I started back in February. Now I only have one card mining Ravencoin right now. It's a 3060 because this is terrible on ETH, but because I think you and I talked about this when we did Meet the Miner. Like, I love to diversify. Like, I'm mining 4 different coins right now: Ethereum, Ravencoin, ETC, and ERGO. And I always like to kind of have my hands in a few different cookie jars. But I would be mining more Ravencoin right now if it wasn't for the heat factor. And I would just love for them to kind of revise that, because it's just, and I don't know from the technical perspective as to why it uses so much, but it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think it's because the POW algorithm is based on ProgPow, and ProgPow, I think I talked about this in my last live stream, was meant to level the playing field between ASICs and GPUs and not make the ASICs so much more efficient, and that Ethereum was gonna use it, but they decided not to. And so I just think because it tests every part of the GPU that it causes it to use so much power, and there's just that, I mean, that's just what it is. But I like most people just really haven't been mining it, and it wasn't until, I don't know, this last maybe month and a half, I'm looking at the network hash rate right now, that people really started talking about it. And you know, again, and spiking up right now with EIP-1559. Around the same day, people moved over to mine Ravencoin, and I just know I hear from a lot of people on Discord and stuff that they've moved rigs over there.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like when you have those two algorithms, those two coins as, like, you know, the top two going back and forth right now that are not ETH. I'm really curious if there's only like $1, couple cent difference between profitability on them. I mean, why would you mine Ravencoin and not, why would you mine Ravencoin? Just mine ERGO, you know, taking out any like belief in the project long term. If you're just looking for USD profitability or changing for Bitcoin, take the thing that's going to, you know, give you a more comfortable space to mine in.
Yeah, that definitely comes back to like, what type of miner are you? And I love, like, that's the one thing with like the Meet the Miner series that I do. It's so fun to like connect with a lot of different miners out there to find out like their strategy. Like, you and I talked about yours and how you're cashing out some to take care of expenses and overhead. I chat with Seb Heslow, and like, he does a lot. He cashes out a ton and just reinvests it into GPUs. So he's just taking it from crypto and putting it into physical, tangible investment, which is from the GPU side. And no, I think it makes sense. I think if you're looking at ERGO and Ravencoin side by side, I think you hit the nail on the head when it comes down to, okay, well, ERGO is going to cost me less to mine. It's worth more right now, significantly more than Ravencoin. I think a lot of people are in my boat where I sit and have sat, where it's like, okay, I'll mine it now and hope that it pops later. And because Ravencoin you can mine so much of it right now because of the difficulty level and things like that. So like, for me, it's crazy because when Ravencoin even bumps like a few cents, my wallet goes crazy. you know, like up,
Yeah,
up,
dude.
up $1,000, down $1,000, like in no, and it's like, oh my gosh. So yeah, so it's pretty nutty. And I will be honest, I am behind Ravencoin long-term as a project. But as I said before, I like to diversify. So my hands are in the ERGO, cookie jar right now.
Yeah, and I just got a super chat I want to shout out here.
Oh, go for it.
From Jeffrey. Says, nice hash, not a bad option after ETH mining pools changed their fee coverage for miners. Not that I like nice hash, but ERGO definitely has cooled off. Yeah, man. I will say that my 37... any card that it can't mine Ethereum at full hash rate is currently on ERGO on nice hash. And whether you like or hate nice hash, I just think it's the best way to stack BTC. And that's what I'm currently doing. Keeps the temps cool. I get some Bitcoin. And so, yeah, man, I think that's a good call. And again, like or hate nice hash, I mean, there it is. It's easy to use. Yeah,
I mean, I think that makes complete sense. Like if you are doing active transfers and conversions and swaps, like you are in a lot of these other bigger miners, that makes sense. I mean, heck, go for it. I think it's a good avenue to go, and it makes sense. Everyone's different. Everyone goes different avenues. I mean, I got R9 380s right now mining ETC just because I don't
even know if I've ever seen that GPU in person.
Oh my word. I would have two in my hand. I'm not going to lie to you. So I had to replace two with, literally I had to shut down that rig today, because they were coming in at 77 Celsius. HIVEOS was reporting, for those of you guys not familiar, I moved my entire farm into my built mining room, and in this room right now, it is 79 degrees. Less than 6 feet away, it's 101 degrees in that room right now. I literally built a grow tent. Like I built a grow tent, and
you could have just bought one.
Yeah, 1,000%. Trust me. I have. Oh my god, I'm kicking myself. I'm like, I could have just bought one, and it would have cost me fractions. I mean, that room, literally, guys, is thousands of dollars in that room. Anyways, yeah, the R9 380s. I jumped on these only because they were cheap. Like you could find them everywhere, like a dime a dozen type of deal. And so I went and grabbed them up and built a rig out of it, and it's my ETC rig. It just mines Ethereum Classic, and I got 120 mega hash on it, and it just sits around and just they're cheap GPUs, so your return on investment is pretty quick, and I just let that kind of stack up.
Got a question here in the chat, and I also want to ask you a question based off it, but Crypto Carpet, sick name, by the way.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Just asked, is Ravencoin more profitable than ETH? And it's not right now, but it also depends on the type of card you have. And I know, Hobbyist, you said you mined a lot of Raven when you first got into this, right? Because you had a lot of 4 gig cards, if I remember, and that was really the only thing that made sense to mine. Is that right?
Yeah, so I started out in February as a miner content creator, and I jumped on board, and my first rig was a 12 GPU RX 470 rig, and man, that thing was eating Raven for breakfast, and I was just mining Raven like crazy. And so I feel like if you're a hodler, and maybe a defined hodler for some people, so a hodler is pretty much what I am. I freely tell people, I'm like, I have not cashed out one thing that I've mined since I started mining. Not one. Everything is in my wallets. And so a hodler is someone just like that mines it, doesn't need to cash it out for expenses, doesn't need to cash it out for GPU purchases. And I go ahead and just hold it in hopes that that investment bubbles in the future. So it's very similar to a stock that you go and buy. I'm going to go buy this stock now, and X amount of years later, all of a sudden, it blows up, and oh my gosh, I have so much money. I mean, that's my perspective. Mine all that Ravencoin, sit on that, and it's not really worth a lot right now. I mean, right now it's going for 8 cents, but it's like, man, that hits $1, kind of the Dogecoin mentality. It hits $1 and dang, we've gone the distance.
Yo, MC, thanks for the super chat, man. Appreciate you. And Status Flow, what's up, dude? Good to see you. So I wanted to do some math here because
Okay.
I got on my screen the amount of ETH burned so far.
Oh, I got a cool website for us to go over after that. Go ahead.
Oh my god, dude! And the amount in USD value is gonna make me sick. So.
Oh, isn't it like $10 million a day or something like that? Insane.
So 15,615 ETH has been burned, and we'll just do that times $3,000. Yeah, so almost $47 million in USD is just gone, just evaporated into thin air that would have been paid out to the miners.
Yeah, it's such a unique mentality to have, to be like, we want to control supply and demand so that the price per ETH goes up. It makes us more money, so we can compete with Bitcoin. It's like, okay. Because who was asking for that? Like, who was asking for it? No one.
And that's what drives me nuts too, because like the developers, obviously they're big holders of ETH, and that was like when they heard them say that one of the outcomes to EIP-1559 was that the price would go up. I was like, that doesn't feel morally good. And this is crazy too. The largest burn, so I guess this is the largest block that had burn, was 20.59 ETH.
Wow.
In one block was just sent away. It's crazy. Totally crazy. Oh man. Yo, what's up, Ernest and some goblin loser? Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Hanging with the Hobbyist, doing our first joint live stream and hopefully if it goes well, maybe we'll do some more.
Yeah, Gnome and Fox up in here.
What else you want to talk about?
So that's a good question. Alex in chat, and I like these questions because these are super repeat questions, and I guarantee you get these all the time. Can I build a mining rig with $1,100 US? So I'm gonna let you start that one off.
You can. I mean, what would? All right, so let's just say, what could you get right now?
Okay.
So you could get probably one 3070 Ti for that.
Well, I guess my first question for him would be like, what type of miner are you hoping to be? Like, can you afford to invest 1,100 and then never see it again? Like, you know what I mean? Or can you invest 1,100 and you're expecting to get X amount per month that you need to cash it out to, kind of come back from it? So I think that's the big question. So let's say we go the route of, there's two different routes we could go. We could go your avenue, or we could go my avenue. So why don't you speak towards it first as to how you would do 1,100, and then I'll speak towards it, because I think they're totally different based off of your situation.
Absolutely, yeah. And I just got Crypto Carpet made me laugh. He goes, "Can I build a mining rig with $1,101?"
Oh my word!
The one up over here.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, it's funny, right? So my mind immediately goes to what GPUs could you get, and like what assortment of GPUs could you get, knowing you have to get a motherboard and power supply and all that. And like I instantly go to like, you could get like one 3070 Ti, or you could do maybe two 3060s and motherboard and power supply and all that. Like it's just, with the way GPU pricing is right now, it's not favorable to building rigs. Even I just got a couple 1660 supers and they were like $300. So even then, you can get 3 of those and then get some real cheap motherboards and processors and stuff. But that's it. As far as like hardware you can put together, there's not a lot you can do with that amount of money. What's your mindset on that? I know you think a little bit differently.
Yeah, so I go to the I feel like I should have called my channel like Poor Man Miners. That would have been a better avenue to go. So I started to create a list while you were talking, and so for me, I made a note here, and I actually have a video coming out of this at the end of the week of stripping down old PCs for parts. So I'd strip back one of these HPs that I bought. I bought them for $50. They're HP computers, and I'd strip them down, use their motherboard, CPU, and memory, and probably get that's about $50, and then a 350 watt ATX power supply, is probably going to cost you maybe $45, and it's really just to power the motherboard. I then would probably get like a 1200 watt HP server power supply to handle the cards. So the ATX is just kind of the motherboard. So I get a 1200 watt. They've come up now. I'm going to say they're about 65, 70 now. With a breakout board, get all your cables, stuff like that. So let's say after you get, you know, motherboard, power supplies, cables, risers, you might be going cheap, man, going cheap, about 350, and then it really comes down to your hunt for cards. So in that regard, I'm a 4 gig guy, like I've always been, and I think that's what's really set my channel apart from other channels. You know, everyone else is out there like, check out my 3080, check out my 3070, and I'm like, hey, check out my R9, nice. Check out my R9 380. You know,
be nice. I'm right here.
So I'm your. I should name my channel the Everyday Miner. But I think that would have been an avenue I'd go. So I'd start to look at 4 gig cards, and that's really where you have to pivot and look at where you go for, you know, where your profitability is at. For me, I'm not really looking at day-to-day profitability because I'm not cashing out anything. I'm a hodler. I feel like I need a hodler for life t-shirt. But outside of that, that's probably the avenue I'd go. So I'd explore a lot of different 4 gig cards and go from there. But that's not everybody's avenue. So I actually created a video on this, and myself and Red Fox will continually reference videos we've done, guys, with a lot of questions that come up. So I have a video talking about this whole discussion of, you know, what GPU to get started with, because that it all really, and I just go into detail discussing profitability and you know, what your situation is and stuff like that. Everybody's different. So hopefully that answers your question there on the $1,100. It was a good question though.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said too for just, if you're just getting started, there's always this like, is this going to be for me?
Oh yeah.
Thing.
Yep.
So, you know, getting something relatively inexpensive, used. I know prices are wild right now, but getting something relatively inexpensive, used, just to tinker with and get to know, and then, you know, if the mining bug bites you, then roll from there and invest more. But yeah, that's the way I would look at it too. I mean, I started with just my GPU, my gaming PC. I'm sure like almost everybody watching both of our streams right now.
Yeah, I mean, I did not start with mine because I didn't want to mess with it. So that was mine right now is the same one because I only started more recently versus yours. Yours was what, a 1070 you started with?
1080 I had, and then a 1070 Ti was the first GPU I bought specifically for mining. Okay,
mine was it's really funny. Mine was a 970, MSI 970.
Nice.
Back in February, I had that card for 4 weeks and resold it for about $100 more than I bought it for. I tacked that up to a win.
You want to roll? I'm gonna roll some questions. We could do
one
by one if you got any there. All right,
sure,
let me
go
get
for
started here. Nerd Herd Crypto, do you think the new ETH update will solve high gas issues, or is the gas issue more of a scalability problem? You're exactly right. It's a problem of scalability. So this current update to EIP-1559 was never meant to address any of the high gas issues. I think we're looking more towards way down the line. When ETH 2 comes, that's when a lot of those things will start taking place. So yeah, man, good question. Thanks for asking. Hobbyist, you got one?
Yeah, let me scroll up here 1 second. I was not prepared. I'm sorry. Sorry, teacher. I wasn't prepared.
I don't want to ignore the chat. I hate when I go in live streams and they don't even acknowledge it. I'm just like, man, well, that's part of the fun.
So that's definitely that's definitely the hard part about like a dual stream, like what we're doing right here, because like traditionally you're like reading it like line for line, saying hi, you know, stuff like that. But you don't want to be that guy that's like, you know, kind of chatting, reading your chat, and there's another streamer just kind of sitting there. All right, so this is an interesting question. But I think this is one that miners get a lot, and I don't know that we'll give exact numbers. This is how much money do you have into your farm? So I'm completely transparent on that. I don't mind at all. So my farm itself, I could ballpark it. I would say, because a lot of mine are 4 gig cards, I'd say... And they're 4 gig, but I got all of a sudden in the last 2 months pivoted to all these like 1660s and 1080s and 2060s and, you know, kind of out there.
1070 Ti's.
Yeah, who does that? That's coming. It's coming. Shh, don't you say anything. Quiet. I would say I'm probably right around 15 grand right now.
Nice. I'm up there. I have to sit and look at the record books, but I'm probably I'm probably like 60 to 80.
Yep.
Right
and
now.
you've been doing this for and now how many GPUs are you running?
Up and running right now is 55.
Okay.
But not running that I need to get running is probably another 15.
Oh man, you are backlogged hardcore.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. It's tough.
I have 35 up and running. I need to honestly take down probably about 12 and replace the thermal paste. And we'll get into that towards the end here. And then I have one sitting behind me that was gifted to me by a handsome young gentleman, and I'll have a video out on that next week, people.
He's probably a great guy.
Oh man, he's got one hell of a beard, I'll tell you what. Questions over to you. Your turn.
All right, let's see what we got in here. All right, Ernest, how do you find good deals without using bots? Do you use stuff like Facebook Marketplace, Kijiji, or whatever? And then what is the max ROI timeline you are looking at? So
good call.
I'll talk about how I get GPUs, and that is just pretty much straight up bots at this point.
Okay.
I was lucky enough to be gifted one of the popular bots in the space, so I could do a review video on it, which I did. You can check on my channel. It's called Stellar.
That's awesome.
And, that in combination with one other bot called Nova that I did pay for, those have gotten me a lot of the GPUs I've gotten, but the EVGA notify queue is clutch. Whenever EVGA releases a new card, if you jump in the notify queue early, you'll be able to get a GPU from then. And then Zotac Store, which actually Zotac started their queue like right as we went live.
We planned it. We planned it.
Yeah, but that's been it for me. In this whole crazy time that we're in. How about you, Hobbyist? I know you go for the older cards. What do you do? eBay? What do you do to get those?
So I haven't touched eBay yet. I'm actually going to be making a video on my eBay experience because it's really interesting. And I run into this in my Discord. There's a lot of people in my Discord that are like eBay savants, and they just they live and breathe by the prices on eBay. The downside is when you buy from eBay, you're also buying at a risk. And so I'll look on eBay and be like, wow, these cards are several $100s less. And then I'm like, but it's coming from Shanghai and it's going to take 2 months to get here. And will it even be the card that I want? I went on there the other day looking for RX 580s. Because I've started to get it, that's kind of I've been getting more and more into RX 580s. I'm looking to build out my one rig. I built a RevTech board rig. And so I try to stay away from eBay, but to get back to the person's original question, I do want to explore eBay a little more. But for me, I do a lot of OfferUp. I do a lot of Facebook Marketplace, but you guys have to keep in mind, those all have premiums to them because OfferUp, there's a 13.9% seller's fee. So most people are tacking that on. The nice thing about those platforms is they have full buyer and seller protection. And so when I buy a GPU, and I love this, I buy a GPU and yes, I might spend $100 more. I get that GPU in. I have 2 days to mine the heck out of that thing to make sure it's working right before Facebook charges my account and pays that seller. So for me, that's right up my avenue. I've only done twice of actually going physically locally and meeting somebody. I bought 6 of my RX 470s in person from another miner back in January, and I got a steal on those versus today. I bought those for $106 each, and got 6 of those, and now they're ridiculous. I mean, let's say eBay real quick here. RX 470. You know, those are up there. I mean, now these are the Sapphire Nitros, and these are the mining edition ones. So yeah, so I try to stay away. Yeah, I stay away from eBay. I stay away from Craigslist. I pay the premium in order to go with Facebook Marketplace and OfferUp, and it's worked out well. I've never had a card that doesn't work. I've never had a card that is not what is expected to be. I just read all these horror stories of people ordering off eBay and they get it in and it's like not even the same card.
Yeah.
So
I think I've done maybe 2 GPUs total ever off eBay. I think some supers or TIs for like $170 like a year ago.
Yeah.
But otherwise, all the you know what I did? So many of the mining like components, motherboards, and all that stuff, and processors, frames, all that stuff new on eBay was really good deals last bear market. That's okay. But that's really the bulk of what I've done, and I'm in this. So I searched sold listings for 3070s on eBay. Okay. And somebody bought, I'm sure it was a mistake, but they bought the box for Founders Edition 3070 for $600. What do you think the hash rate is on that box? Oh man, that box, man, you're gonna get it, and I don't even know if you can mark like item not as described. Like I don't even know if you could do that. That's a $600 mistake right there. Let's be honest. Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people go this route, but I stay away from like MSI. I stay away from Gigabyte the best I can. I'm a Sapphire, Nitro, and Pulse fanboy. Nitros are so good, man. Yeah, they're so nice. I've started to dabble into XFX, and I've been really happy with it with the 580s, and so I'm going to continue going that route. But like, I bought a RX 580 8 GB the other day for $400. And there were a handful of people that were like, you're crazy, like you get it for half that, blah blah blah. And I'm like, I guess, but on eBay right now, like 362 and it's still got 4 hours left. I'm like, 400 is pretty good with shipping and buyer and seller protection, and it's from the US, you know, like that's not too bad if you ask me. But yeah, so that was the first part of his question. Do you remember the second part of his question? It was a really good question though. Yeah, first of all, Chump Change says his invite must have gotten lost in the mail. So I will tell. Yeah, Chump Change, listen. This is the Fox and Gnome show. This isn't the Fox Gnome and CCX the cat show. Yeah, the cat show. All right. So that's coming down the line. Oh man, that's funny. All love. The other part of his question was, what scale do you look at for ROI? So I took that as you're about to invest, into a GPU. What are you okay with looking at ROI scale wise? So why don't you want to take that first, and then I'll think about my answer. Yeah, so ROI for me is interesting, as we talked about before, because of the fact that I'm not buying and selling within a few months or of any of the crypto that I mine with it. For me, I'll be honest with you, I'm not really looking at ROI. I mean, more and more I've been looking at it when I've gotten into cards coming in and I've started doing videos on it. Like I just did a video on the 1660 Ti's that I got in, and I'm starting to kind of put hardware costs into it and talk about those and the kind of break even. I just got in a 590 that I'm going to be doing a video on, and I'm kind of looking. Yeah, it's a 590 Fat Boy, and I just wanted one. Like, I'll be honest with you, just wanted one. I know the 580 hashes at about the same amount, and but that being said, I kind of keep it to under a year, and that's kind of where I'm at. It's like, as long as it's under a year, we're good. And anything that's over a year, and it's not a right fit for what I'm doing. What about you? Yeah, I think I'm probably in the same spot. And yeah, I think years is pretty much where I'm at. Because the other thing I think about, and I preach this all the time, probably sound like a broken record at this point, but you have an asset, right? You have this GPU that holds value. So say you buy $1,000 3080, you're thinking about your break even being, I need to get to $1,000 in some kind of fiat currency or cryptocurrency to know that I broke even on that graphics card. But the thing you got to also take into account is that GPU has resale value. So say a year from now, you could sell that 3080 for $500. That really only means that your break even point just got a lot, smaller, because you got to take into account the resale value of the GPU, and they hold it. I mean, besides the point now where like just the resale values are insane, like even during times not like this, an NVIDIA GPU will still hold.
Yeah, agreed.
Years from now, like half, maybe a third of its resale value down the line. So I think that really softens the blow when people see a year or multi-year break even. Is you just got to remember you have a thing in your hand that you can sell. But when I go on What to Mine, if I'm like, just, am I gonna, spend some money on these cards, or my bot bought them and they're on their way, and do I want to keep them? I just look at like, okay, what's my break even? Where does that put me, considering, the merge on Ethereum probably come in Q1 of next year? And where does that put me if I take into account the resale value of this card? Because I just don't want that overhead, past the merge or any bear market time. So I think a year is my target. And if I see something in like 200 days, for me, that's like,
yeah,
hey, this is fantastic. Because when I was buying cards a year or 2 years ago, I was looking at 3 years, no joke. I think it was my 5,700.
Wow,
like,
3 years, holy cow.
3 years and I'll break even on this. So like anything I see a year and under, I'm like, here's my credit card, let's do this. I'm ready to roll.
So I got a good one in chat. I'm eager to hear from your perspective, and then I'll give mine. How do we maintain our GPU farm?
If you guys saw my 1070 Ti, he was like, Mike doesn't maintain his farm. I posted that riser
oh, that was a terrible riser. That was terrible.
Oh man. But so I let the temperatures, mostly I let the temperatures guide where I need to spend my time. And for example, like those cards were getting pretty toasty, and fans were broken on them, so I knew I needed to take action pretty quick. What I otherwise would do is probably 6 months or so, I'll take everything and I'll just, dust it out with canned air, outside, and that's pretty much it. And then if temperatures, and for me, like those 1070 Ti's were my oldest cards.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you're talking, it wasn't until 3 years that I was like, those temperatures seem pretty hot. Like, let me replace thermal pads and thermal paste in them.
Yeah.
So, these things they're workhorses. They're meant to run. If you keep them in a clean environment, dust them off every now and then, like that's all I've ever done, and I've never had a problem.
Yeah. So for me, it's interesting. I preach one thing and then I seem to follow another. Someone called me out on it today, and I really appreciate it. So because I buy all the cards I've ever bought in are secondhand, except for two 3060s that I got from Newegg Shuffle. So I won two 3060s from Newegg Shuffle. Those are my only new cards. All my other cards are secondhand. So I preach the fact of when you get a secondhand card in, blowing it out, cleaning it out, fixing any fins in it, and then applying new thermal paste or thermal pads to it. And I've just gotten, and you know exactly how this is. You've just gotten so busy where like you get a card in and you slap it in mining, or you want to get a video out on it. And so that really came to light and really came back to like kick me in the face last night. I went ahead and for those of you guys not familiar, I've been renovating my basement for the last several months and building a mining room that has been a huge struggle and a huge learning curve. And I moved everything in there, and then but I can't put a drop ceiling in yet, so I had to seal it. So I sealed it with plastic, like giant sheets of plastic that you can buy all around the top, and then I sealed the doorway. And it's sealed. Like that room is sealed. As I said, I'm sitting here at 79. In the room next to me, it's 101, 6 feet away. The cards that did not get their thermal paste replaced when they first arrived are now all in the 70, like 70C and higher. And I'm like, well, yep, that's one, and that's one, and that's one. Yeah. So today I ended up having to do two. So my mentality is once a year, make sure you pull your cards, you clean them up, you take them apart, new thermal paste, new thermal pads if needed. Because some of these cards that I got in and never replaced the thermal paste on, I opened them up today and the thermal paste was like sand. It was just like completely dried out. And I was like, well, this is why you're 77 degrees Celsius and HIVEOS is yelling at me. So yeah, keep it, and even just blowing them out, like just blowing them out works well, especially based off based off of where the environment is.
Give them a nice blow.
That's right. Good. Everybody needs a good blow.
Yeah, so I'm losing over here. Kasangi, I hope I'm saying that right, because it said in my chat, after seeing that riser picture, I didn't know you could buy risers with upholstery.
You pay extra for that one. You pay extra for that one.
That got me. That got me.
That's
crypto
funny.
carpet right there.
Yeah, crypto carpet. Oh, that's a good. That is a good way to put it.
Oh man. All right. What else is on our agenda? You want to talk about the? We got this infrastructure bill happening. Did you get any chance to look into that? I did some reading today. And
yeah. So
did a live stream.
Yeah. So I listened to a lot of videos after they were put out there.
Yeah.
And things have really shifted a lot over the last few days. Like they were one thing, now another, an amendment, stuff like that. So why don't you give us the high level and then we can just kind of talk about it.
Sure. And I still feel like I'm not an expert on all this, but essentially there's an infrastructure bill for the US that's aiming to improve, a lot of things from roadways to I think the train network and a lot of stuff. And so that needs funding. And so they're looking at a few different areas to get funding for this bill. And one of them is to make sure people are paying their cryptocurrency taxes, which if you're in the United States, you have to pay taxes on cryptocurrency. That means if you're a miner or a trader, all of that, you got to pay taxes on it. So there's been two amendments proposed for this bill because in the bill itself, it just says brokers of cryptocurrency. And essentially,
what a weird terminology.
Right. And the way it works right now, right, you're kind of like, you have to report your taxes. You have to do it for mining. And the way that this is looking to shift is to give the government some insight. So like say a mining pool like Ethermine would have to have transparency amongst who's mining on there so that it's ensured that miners are paying their taxes. Or Coinbase would have to report for everybody, because I think right now it's only above a certain volume that you get the tax documents for. Or Coinbase would have to report everybody. Or if you're staking somewhere, it would have to report everybody so the government can make sure that you are paying your taxes. And obviously there's a whole privacy thing and whole another layer to that. So what the issue was that caused some amendments is how do you define broker? Broker is such a broad term.
Oh, it's a terrible word.
Yeah, so you go from hardware wallet providers, so they need to report to the government, to mining pools, to the exchanges, et cetera, developers, so they need to report. And so the amendments are looking to define that in different ways. And the one amendment, if I remember correctly, specifically says not miners. But the problem
the latest amendment, Yeah,
the problem still then, okay, how about everybody else? What if you're, staking Ethereum when ETH2 comes out? And so these amendments are trying to define broker and what it might mean. And so what's been fascinating, and honestly, as crappy as this whole thing is, what's been fascinating is this whole infrastructure bill has come to a stop in the Senate because they can't agree on the cryptocurrency part of it. So on one side of things, like we are at the point where the Senate is been for days and days and days stopped because of cryptocurrency, because they don't understand it and all that stuff. But I just think that's like an amazing thing if you really zoom out and think about how far we've come, that the US government is at a halt specifically because of how cryptocurrency is involved in this infrastructure bill. So I think, I don't know where this is going to go. I pay my taxes, but as far as like, if you tell Ethermine they got to report and KYC all their customers, guess what? Like they're just going to not let US miners mine on there. And it's 100%. And like the whole development of cryptocurrency in the US and everything that happens here is just gonna move somewhere else, and that's gonna be really bad for the United States in terms of innovation in this space, in my opinion. What are your thoughts, Hobbyist?
Yeah, so that's definitely a unique one. So there's a few things that really stick out to me, and one of the first ones is this really should be separated from the infrastructure bill. Let's be honest with you, like this is totally different. And we all know, I shouldn't say we all know, but there's a lot of politics behind why it's in there, because they need somebody to tax to pay for this bill. That's why it's part of this bill, and that's why it's in there. So that just really bothers me. Like, I hate when things get held up. We've seen this with COVID in the US. We've seen this with stimulus in the US, where it is held up because something in there is unrelated to the actual reason. And this is typical US politics. We try to take a bill and slam 1,000 things in it that are completely unrelated to it and get away with it. And that's sort of the unfortunate thing about the US with our politics system. That being said, looking at kind of and I lost my train of thought there for a second, but with this bill, it should be separate, as I said, and there needs to be some intelligence behind it. And there's all these people making these decisions or throwing these terminologies around that have no clue even what cryptocurrency is. Like, they can't define it. And I'm not saying you and I are those people at all in any way, shape, or form. But the challenge,
get us in there.
The challenge is like, you have these people using this terminology like brokers, and it's like, wait, what? Like,
yeah,
who did you grab off of the New York Stock Exchange floor and ask for your help on this and throw that verbiage in there? Because no. And so the latest and greatest that I have seen and heard is a lot of people pushing is this broker fee terminology, as you said, and then with e-staking. And it's like, okay, wait, are you literally just like looking at like news highlight reels in the crypto market and looking for things like what's the biggest trending? What's trending? Okay, we're gonna throw that in there. And it's like it's an absolute nightmare. And it's like, in all honesty, you know, it came out of nowhere. Like, this literally came out of left field in the last 2 weeks.
They like, I think what they do, they snuck in this part to the bill, like last minute, as a way of funding for the infrastructure bill. So that's like, everybody went nuts. And there was I'm sure you've seen this too, probably all over Twitter, but there's still this website, I'll throw it in the chat, where you can see if you're in the US. Oh yeah,
who you can contact.
Who you can tweet to your local senators or give a call. So if you guys want to check this out, do your part, or just get educated if you're in the United States. And obviously, guys, like, stuff that happens in the US, I don't want to sound like
no, it affects globally. It affects globally.
It affects everything. So
it's going to be really interesting, because if this passes down to a minor level, you're just going to see a massive sell-off on things, or you're going to see a massive direction of miners just not reporting anything. Like, it's going to go back to the mentality of what this is truly supposed to be, which is a decentralized network. And so at the end of the day, it may just return back to that. It may return back to mining 5 years ago, at least in the US, which is unfortunate because it's made such great strides. But it's like, as soon as you're like, oh wait, I need to tax everything under the sun, or, you know, all of a sudden it's gonna be a mess. So it's definitely something to follow.
Yeah, and the other thing, you know, kind of wrapping up this combo, the last thing I was thinking about on it was, you know, China banned mining, and a lot of those miners were landing here in the US. There's
oh my gosh,
and Canada as well, but there's cheap power to be found in the Pacific Northwest. I know Texas, some miners were landing on, and I think somewhere on the East Coast, maybe the Virginias or something like that. And you got all these ASICs now coming in from China. You know, they're going to other countries too, but then like, they're just gonna move right away to somewhere else if this goes through. Yeah. And I think there's a timeline. I know it has to go through the Senate, has to go through the House, and then there's still a timeline of, I think, a couple years where it would actually go, you know, in play. But I don't know. Let's I'm gonna stay close to it. I honestly saw the buzz around it, but didn't really like, all right, let me sit down and read what's going on until earlier today. Yeah. But yeah, it would have a huge impact for miners in the US and all around the world for sure. Yeah, it's no one's looking forward to it. It's not going to end up, it's not, either way, it's not going to end up in a good place. Like, let's be honest with you, like, it's not going to end up where we want it to. And I think the other thing is, I circle back to it, is, why is it needed? Like, why is this needed? I guess they're just really looking for another, like, a way to fund this bill, and they're like, huh, yeah, a lot of people aren't paying their crypto taxes. How can we make sure they are, you know? Yeah. And that is the biggest challenge for me. It's like, wait,
we are literally like cryptocurrency has literally just come mainstream in the last 24 months. And the US government is of course trying to find a way to tax it, you know, before anyone even understands it. And it's not supposed to be, cryptocurrency is not supposed to be under anyone's policy or governance or direction. That's the whole point of cryptocurrency in a decentralized network. And the US trying to force it in a way where it's like, okay, we want to be able to define all of these things into these buckets. And we're looking to tax all of these in these ways, which, as you and I are talking about now, make no sense. It's a real shame. It really is. So
right, go ahead. What do you got?
Yeah, so I found this website, and I'm gonna send it. Someone sent it to me in my Discord. I'm gonna send it over to you because it looks really cool, and I have no clue what I'm looking at here. So there's like a little thing at the bottom. Let me know when you have this website up.
Yeah, allow me. What is this? You sending me a virus? What are you sending me?
100%.
All right, cool. Let's see.
So this looks like something out of like South Park. It reminds me of.
I copy and pasted wrong.
Okay, can't help you there.
It's my first time using the internet.
Yeah, you're good. All right, so this was a site that was linked in my chat to talk about the blockchain live transaction. It's a live transaction visualizer. And so there's a little thing at the bottom. First time here, show me around. So I thought this was really cool. I'm gonna put a link in chat to this. It's got some wonky link, guys, but it is good. So we got TX Street is a live blockchain transaction and a meme pool visualizer. Each person represents a single transaction happening in real time, which is insane to me. So all these people that are like in line are live transactions. All right, so let's see here. Each house, so I guess the houses are on the left, represents a type of transaction. Click the house for more info. So I'm going to click on the unicorn. Okay, so this is Uniswap. A decent, okay, very cool. So these are a lot of the exchanges that are occurring. Okay. Each bus represents a future block. The first bus leaves when the block is found. Okay, I like it. Click the coin name button at the top to change streets. Where is that button?
Okay.
Where is that button?
Top right.
Oh, a Bitcoin. Oh, to go to. Okay, so we're on Bitcoin. Oh, okay. So you change what side of the street it's on. Got it. I like how slow Bitcoin is. How slow Bitcoin is versus Ethereum.
Look at ETH right now.
Oh my God, ETH is crazy. This is nutty. So let's see. I did that. Tutorial complete. Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is a really cool website. I love this like visualization aspect. I'm a visual learner, to be honest with you, and so seeing these things are really cool.
Did you scroll down to the low fee line on ETH?
No, I gotta let me get rid of the stats here. Oh my gosh. What is this? What is
Everybody's
this?
waiting. That's everybody setting their low payout threshold. Low payout.
Oh yes, yes.
On Ethermine.
Oh my gosh! So they're all waiting. Oh my word! It's like an army of people. Oh my!
God.
That is awesome. This is a genius website. And did you see? Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Your ad here with moonheads. That's crazy. So I guess that's like the. Oh, the moonhead's at the top. Oh, so you click on a moonhead. Oh, interesting. Oh, they take ETH. They take. Oh, of course. This is genius. This is really genius.
This is funny, man.
Yeah, this is really cool.
So Samir in my chat just says one of those low fee lines is him sitting at 10 Gwei down there.
Oh, nice. Attaboy.
Dude, I don't even know where. I can't even scroll. It doesn't even scroll that far.
Oh, it just keeps going.
There's all the people ahead of you, man.
Oh my word. This is cool. This is really cool.
Funny.
Yeah.
Hey, I have a question for you. Since
absolutely,
this actually, I was just thinking about it, and I know a lot of people have been talking about the pools changing their payout structures.
Yeah.
So we should talk about that. So what pool are you mining ETH on right now? Are you on HIVEON? You on something else?
Yeah. So I'm on HIVEON. I'm running. I'm a HIVEOS shop with my farm. I'm running HIVEON for my pool. I will be swapping over to, I'm going to stay on HIVEON, absolutely. But on their billing structure, I need to start to swap over to the 10 cents per day. So if you guys aren't familiar with the way that it works within HIVEOS and their billing structure, it comes down to you can either be charged 10 cents per rig per day. So for that is mining ETH, or 3%. Well, 3% gets pretty hefty if you think about it. Like 3% per day is significant. Like think of your farm. 3% of the amount of ETH that you're mining per day is pretty significant. It's a lot more than 10 cents that you're mining per day. So what you need to do is you need to look at what you make per day and to determine what makes more sense. You know, if you have an easy way for me to do that is going to one of my rigs here, like I call it my Cyclops rig here, taking a look at one of my cards. Does it profit more than 10 cents a day? Oh, it does. Okay. So I need to swap that. So I'm going to swap that over, but I am actually so thrilled that HIVEON they are being super smart from a marketing perspective, where they have stepped up and have not changed anything about their pay structure versus every other pool has made their adjustments. What about you?
Yeah, I'm still on Ethermine, and I'll tell you the unless it's changed, the reason that I don't use HIVEON is, and ultimately switch everything over to HIVEOS.
Yep.
Is because you can't set a minimum payout threshold.
Yes,
on HIVEON.
correct.
It's like for me, what is their payout? 0.1 point? Do you know what it is?
What for HIVEON?
Yeah, what's their like? When do they pay out? Is it like a once a day? Is it like a point one? I can't remember.
Yeah, let me look here. I'll bring it up because I have my payouts on here. Where is it? Payouts. That's daily, weekly.
My chat just said, yeah, 0.1.
Okay. ETH. Yeah, so you have to, yeah, that's right. They are correct. You have to hit that threshold. Oh, I have to go to the HIVEON pool. That's right.
So for me, like, and I'd imagine miners that are much bigger than me, that's so many transactions.
Yes.
That would be happening. And then that's so many transactions that you got to like log and report on your taxes.
Yep.
So for me, and this is one of the things I learned early on in mining when I had to hit that first tax year, is I need my payout thresholds to be higher. So I aim for, like, it was once a week, but it's probably more like 2 a week right now. So that I don't have 1,000 transactions to log a year for tax purposes.
Yep.
And so that is the reason that I have not switched over to any other pool, or to using HIVEOS solely and HIVEON.
Yeah.
So I use Ethermine because I can set what I want my minimum payout to be. And so what they've done is you have to pay the gas fee now. Yep. Over on Ethermine, which is fine. And which I didn't really understand how it worked until day one, is you set your gas price in GWE, that what you want it to be.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, and it won't pay out until it hits that, which is fine. So I set mine to like 40 GWE, which I think it was like $2 or something for my payout. Which for me, like when I'm holding that much ETH, make sure I get a larger payout. Like, it's whatever. It's not a big deal. It's like, but so I didn't really understand how it was going to work. So you just set what you want it to be, and it'll tell you when you have a pending payout and what the current network fees are compared to what you have set. So you could adjust it at any point and get paid out, or you can let it sit there until the network fees come down. Just like all these people waiting in the low fee line, they're all waiting for the gas price to come down so that they get their transaction to go through. And you essentially just do the same on Ethermine and I think a few of the other pools. So for me, I'm like, whatever, that's fine. I'm cool with that. That works for me. I still get to set my payout threshold, which is something, like I said, it's just like a deal breaker for me. But I know that's been like a ton of people been like, oh my God, I'm going to switch pools because of this. And like, I mean, listen, like, I pay fees when I sell cryptocurrency. I pay fees if I trade cryptocurrency. Like, it's been great to not have to pay a fee and to get a payout from a mining pool, but it's not something that's like foreign to the space, in my opinion. Yo, what's up, mining office? Thanks for being here, dude.
No, you're absolutely right. I actually gravitated. So when I was heavier in Ravencoin, I actually gravitated to minerpool.org. They're a newer pool. But that was one thing that I really gravitated towards, which was the payout. and being able to adjust that, just like you had said. Having that flexibility is huge. So there's a lot of pros and cons out there with the different pools, as you were talking about with ETH, and kind of what direction you go. And it all comes down to your operating expense. You know, what are you most comfortable with, and then I'm pivoting from there. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on in that regard. Let's see here. Back to questions, or where are we at? We were talking about that.
Yeah, we can do questions. The other thing I found,
sure, go for it.
Find it is yeah, over on etherchain.org. I don't know what the time frame is on this, if it's 24 hours or what, but it has the top ETH pools, and it has what their average block reward has been.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so it looks like,
what's the site for that?
Here, etherchain.org.
Oh, yeah.
/ miner. And so I was just like, you know, getting curious because everybody's talking about pools right now, and I think all this stuff, like, it's gonna just settle out as time goes on. But
yes,
you look at Ethermine's average reward is 2.18 ETH, and then HIVEOS is 2.16. So then you could argue, like, paying the gas price to get your transaction out is probably 0.02 or less than 0.02 ETH. But it's just interesting to see what pools are maybe getting bigger blocks over time. 2 miners, 2.24 ETH, above both Ethermine and HIVEOS. So I thought this was just cool stats to look at, especially as we're like really tracking rewards right now post EIP-1559.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm coming in about a few times a week now, and just kind of throwing my rigs out there on what to mine and seeing where we end up. You know, what is it showing me, and am I in the right spot? So like, I'm constantly looking, because all of a sudden, like, you know, ERGO comes out of nowhere, and you're like, oh, like, that was like this past week. I was like, holy cow, like, what is going on with ERGO? So yeah, I'm definitely tracking that a little more closely than I used to do it, because it was just kind of the norm. It was like, all right, everything's on ETH, and then some 4 gig cards, you're on Ravencoin, you know, or ETC or whatever. And so I am coming in here and doing that. I would say, for people that are really looking to get down to the micro level on like the site What to Mine, and look at your profitability and what you should be mining, what you really need to do is you do need to determine what your wattage is per rig. So that is something I did more recently in last week's video. Every month I do a kind of like, I did a July kind of recap of my farm, of my rigs. So and it's been fun. I've kept a spreadsheet of it. I share it with the community. Here's all my rigs, here's all my GPUs, here's the profit that each one is making. Well, this month, and I stopped using HIVEOS for like their estimator, and I was like, okay, now that I have kind of like things set up here, I can plug into different I run 3 of the 30 amp 240 volt plugs in my basement here, and I have the AC monitors hooked to the Space Goats meter. So I left one available so that I could literally take a rig and plug it in, so I could get true wattage. And that is huge. Like, sitting around trying to estimate things, it's terrible math, guys. So plug in your entire rig into some type of voltage meter if you can. I would say, if you have a rig that, like my one rig, my 12 GPU rig, that was the 470s, it was putting out 2150. I plugged that into a voltage meter, and that thing died in under an hour, because they're only meant to go up to 1800. That was like the little kilowatt voltage meters. So anyways, get your true wattage. So when you come into What to Mine and you report what you know, and you're going to need to go through and what does it make on ETH? What is the watts? What is it on ERGO? What is the watts? What is it on Ravencoin? What is the watts? Put that all in there, and make sure you also put in your cost for electric, and get some really close numbers there. You'll be very happy when you can come back in here, punch those in, and you're like, bam, I am accurate, I'm up to date, and my numbers are spot on.
Yeah, 100% agree. Especially you running AMD cards, those software reporting on that stuff is 100% not accurate. You got to add like 15 up to 30 watts per card if you're mining AMD. That's such a pet peeve of mine. When people say, oh, my AMD card, you know, my RX 580 is so efficient, it's mining at like 31 mega hash at only 90 watts. And I'm like, no, it's not. I promise you that.
Yes. Yeah,
Man,
yeah, and you got to keep into account, you know, the different power supplies. What are they using? The motherboard, you know, all of that. Your best thing to do is buy a kilowatt meter. You know, I love those. Those are great. I've used those on my test bench just to give me like quick, just because the fact I'm not pulling a ton of power on those. Those work out really, really well, and they're super important to have.
Yeah, I'll say too, if you're tracking electricity to write off,
Yeah.
you know, if you're doing this as a business for tax purposes, then you got to have some accurate readings there. And the other thing I actually just started chipping away at is during the last bear market where you were just really pivoting to mine whatever was most profitable at the time, it was really useful to have just like a running log of, you're essentially benchmarking every GPU for the top algorithms and top coins at the time. So, you know, I would have like 1660 Ti. What does it do on EtHash? What does it do on Kapow? What does it do on Equihash? What does it do on all of these? What power does it use? What overclocks do I have set? And I use Awesome Miner. For
that's right.
Yeah, and I can input all that in, and it would just take that data and just change my card to mine whatever was most profitable.
Oh, very nice.
You know, at that time. So like, I've been going back through in Awesome Miner. You know, I stood up my 3070 Ti rig today on ERGO. I'm like, all right, let me save this benchmark so I have it, so I can remember what it does, so I can get it out to the community, and then so if I need it later, you know, if things get really wild and I might need to switch around coins more often, I can do that profit switching with all of that information.
Yeah, no, that's definitely smart. It's trackability is a huge one, and I think that's, as your farm grows, that's something that you keep in mind. You're like, all right, how do I make this scale easier? You know, which is, I think, really, really important, which I really, really like. This one I think we get a lot of, but it's a good question for discussion, kind of like what we're doing right now. Do you see Ravencoin or ERGO being the next mining meta? What are your thoughts now that we're a few days into, you know, ETH-1559? You know, where do you think that we go from here?
One thing I'll say is, and I've been not so into the weeds of it, but Ravencoin just had such a really nice grassroots community. I'm sure it still does, but even when that project started, and so anytime you have something like that, I think there's a voice that comes out of the wilderness and people flock to it. Oh man, no pun intended. Flock to it. But I think there's a lot to be said, and anytime you see a coin go to ASICs that was GPU mined, the coin is never talked about anymore, and that's happened with so many projects over the years. And so there's something to be said when you get just this community of miners. And there's one thing I'll say about miners is they love Ravencoin. I mean, I have a Ravencoin t-shirt. I love it. I love how it launched. I love that it changed algorithms to kick off FPGAs and ASICs to stay true for GPU miners. Like, there's that whole mentality of it that will just draw people to it. And then you got to figure out, is this project good, right? For the long term.
Yeah, great. Yep, absolutely.
But so I see all of that with Raven. I saw it over the years. ERGO to me is such a new project still, even though I know it's been around a little bit, that I haven't come across that grassroots community, those people going out promoting the project. For me, like, it's just been, profitability is good, I'll just go mine that. But I still haven't really explored it and seen, like, does it have a Discord? Does it have like like a fan base around it? It just seems like this thing that popped up for me, whereas Raven, I was around, you know, the whole time, and there's such a strong community there the whole way. I mean, you even see it with the other crypto YouTubers. They were doing videos on Raven the whole time. I don't see many people doing those kind of videos on ERGO over the last as much, I'll say. So
yeah, ERGO's pretty unique because I'm sorry, I interrupted you there. Do you want to finish up?
No, you're good. No,
yeah, ERGO's unique because I feel like ERGO is like this like trend, like it's like the hot thing right now, and it's kind of come out of nowhere. Like granted, I'm newer, like that is something I push a lot with my community and on my channel. It's like, I am not the expert. I started mining in February, so I literally started watching YouTube videos on cryptocurrency in December. So I'm the noob, and I push people, I tell people that. But that being said, Ergo just seems like it came out of nowhere, whereas like Ravencoin seems more well established. Like it has a foundation, a structure to it. I follow a lot of the developers on Ravencoin on Twitter, and there's just projects, it seems like, left and right that are launching with Ravencoin. I will be honest with you, from a miner perspective, I'll be swapping to Ravencoin in the wintertime when my mining room's sucking in that cold air. like,
dude.
I'm sorry, like I'm gonna be honest, like I'm gonna probably swap all my 4 gig cards over to that. Now, as we talked about before, my reasoning behind that is because I'm a hodler, and that's an easy opportunity for me to build up my piggy bank of Ravencoin, is doing that in the winter time and fall. Right now, it sucks. I mean, I'm mostly mining on Ergo right now, and that room is hot. I can't imagine. I mean, that room would probably be 120 degrees if I was mining Ravencoin the way that I'm doing it right now. But I got Ergo stacked up, but Ergo's great right now. Ergo's very profitable right now, so it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean 100%. So I just think it seems like those 2 coins are the ones right now
breaking out,
are following. I do like other projects. I'm a huge fan of Flux. I like
I haven't gotten into that
as well. But as far as my mindset, just continuing to make sure that all my stuff is getting paid off by generating the most revenue, then like I gotta look at the top coins, because I have to look at this as a business sense, you know, as well. So yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. That's a good call.
I think I got some questions here.
Okay, go for it.
From Ernest, what wattage meter do you recommend? A good one. And I think I use the one that I built, which is the same. I use Space Goat's video to build it myself. And that's been the best thing for me. I really would shy away from any of those smart outlets. I've tried those. I melted one, and
everybody I think has like everyone's had one. I mean, the kilowatt is the most common one. It's on Amazon. It's affordable. It's like $20 or something, and that one's good up to about 1800 watts. I had to actually read into on the website after I killed one, because I'm like, wait, what? Like, what is going on here? And that one's good up to about 1800 watts. Other than that, I can't really speak to a lot of the other ones, but I think the norm is it's an AC monitor is what Red Fox is talking about. It's an AC monitor, so it goes around around the lead coming into a L630R plug or any other outlet you got. It gives you, I mean, I love it. It gives you true wattage, watts, amps, volts, everything. And I live by it. I mean, I'm at 40. What is your total wattage for your farm right now?
A lot.
Too much.
Yeah, I know my whole house, I think, which is probably almost all mining.
Yeah, right.
Well, I'll say this. I have a 30 amp circuit, the PDU, and each bank right now is maxed at 12 amps.
Okay.
And I have more GPUs mining besides that, but I can tell you, I use the Sense electricity monitors, one of my earlier YouTube videos.
Yep, I remember that.
My whole house is 9,000 watts right now.
Okay.
And the vast majority of that is for sure coming from mining.
Okay, so mine last week was 5,200 watts, over 35 cards and 4 rigs. I swapped from Ravencoin last week to Ergo because of the cost perspective, which is ridiculous. So now I'm down to 4,600 watts, is what I'm running. So I moved everything into my mining room. So that was all on one circuit, which was a 30 amp 240 volt. So I had about 1,000 watts to grow. Now that 4,600 spread out over 3 different circuits in that room. So
yeah, man, I gotta run another one. It's that means I gotta get another PDU. I just don't want to, but
dude, PDUs are so pricey right now. They're so pricey right now. I searched far and wide for them, and what was the one that Panda uses? It's like $99, but it's never in stock on their site. I forget what it was. Nerd Gears. Oh my god, that's a pipe dream. It's got $99, and it's like, that is a complete lie. Like, there's no way that thing's never in stock. So I went with Triplite. It's a P1230. that I have, and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 16, 18 total C14 slots on it. And that's worked out really well. I've been really happy with that, and that's gone a far way. Oh, side note, 'cause we're talking about wattage and stuff like that. We were talking about this in my Discord today, and I was chatting with people about it. All miners could say at one point or another that they killed a power strip. It's just like,
oh yeah,
you kill power strips left and right.
Course.
Power strips are not meant for the wattage. So
you're just not thinking, man. You're like,
yeah,
just plug all this stuff in, and then you know, pop.
Yeah, before I went to a PDU and with a dedicated circuit, I went through 3 or 4 different power strips. Power strips are not meant for what you're doing with your mining rigs. Just stop using them. And I made the mistake as well. They're dangerous. It is a fire hazard putting that much load on that power strip. Look up that power strip online. There's no way it's meant for 1800 watts, 2200 watts. You got to go the direction of a PDU. You got to go with a PDU that is built for that type of wattage. Even if you're not going to go with like a 240 volt or a 30 amp, you still, that's my PSA to chat, because you're getting yourself in trouble.
I could do, and I have done PSAs on safe mining with electricity.
Yeah.
I could talk about it all day. I can talk about it all day. So let's see. What I'll do one more question, then you can throw one up.
All right, cool.
All right, some speculation from Crypto Carpet. Do you think Nvidia's 40 series will be significantly better for mining? Will it be a bigger increase than the 30 series were? What do you think, Hobbyist?
I'm sorry, I got to. Okay, got it.
They're think the 40 series is going to be good for mining. What do you think?
I kind of hate Nvidia. I'm going to be honest with you. So I can't. Okay, first off, I'm going to go on a rant a little bit. I can't imagine them coming out with a 4000 series card right now. They can't even keep up with demand with a 3000 series card, and they want to pop out another. Like, it's just, it blows my mind. That being said, I think they're gonna come out with the 4000 series card with some new curveballs for us as miners that are really gonna make it a challenge. And I am really hoping AMD looks at this and capitalizes on it entirely. I really hope they do. I really hope AMD comes up and just blows Nvidia out of the water. When Nvidia, because you know Nvidia is going to come out with a 4000 series card, and it's going to have all these wacky, goofy things with mining and killing a bazillion hash rates and all this. And it's like, man, AMD just needs to step up and just be like, hey, miners, check us out. Here it is. We're not doing anything to limit this, and we got supply. Like, I'm really hoping they do. I really hope they do.
I don't know, man. It would be interesting because there can be an argument that AMD made some changes to their 6000 series to make them not appealing to miners, because the 5000 series were killer. And what was it, the memory bandwidth or bus width or something like that got halved on the 6000 series, which is why those GPUs aren't great mining cards. But yeah, like for the next series, the 4000 series on Nvidia, they're going to be nerfed from the get-go. But what's going to be interesting is, and also, I think nothing will stop Nvidia from just releasing them, because they've released TI versions and all that stuff, and
Founders Edition.
You still can't buy them.
Yeah.
So, what I think will be interesting is Nvidia. I think they're stupid at some points, but they're probably looking into the future as well. They got to know that ETH is turning off mining. They got to know what else exists out there that can be mined. So, like, how do they build that into a new graphics card? Yeah. Is the next one gonna somehow know to limit the Kapow algorithm, or is there gonna be some crazy thing in the driver from day one where they have control to limit certain algorithms when they want? I don't know. But the other thing I was thinking about, could we get to a point where cryptocurrencies, proof of work cryptocurrencies, decide to fork and change their algorithm to be mineable from light hash rate cards? Like, could ERGO, for example, which seems like it's a good counter, say, you know what, we love GPU miners, we're going to switch our algorithms so you can mine us with all your light hash rate cards.
That
Like,
would be
that would be
baller.
some monumental thing if that happened.
You got to think though that some of these, developers are looking at that kind of stuff. Like, how do they, what can they do to have their coin be a breakout coin? And that would be a huge one. I mean, if Ravencoin, think of Ravencoin. If Ravencoin all of a sudden came out with a new algorithm that was more efficient from the heat and electricity perspective, and worked well with LHR cards. Holy cow! Like LHR cards are a dime a dozen now. They're everywhere. When in doubt, you should think the card you're buying is an LHR card. Like when in doubt, if you're unsure of that model because they have LHR and regular models, just when in doubt. But that would be huge. Like that would skyrocket Ravencoin. That would be clutch.
I gotta imagine there's gonna be some proof of work coin at some point that's gonna do that. Either now or way down the road with whatever Nvidia decides to come up with, in the long term. And I am like, to your point, what might AMD do for their next series of GPUs in terms of mining? I don't know if either of those two companies that are for gamers are going to be like, we love miners, here you go. But it'll be interesting to see what happens, especially since Nvidia's like mining GPUs are just dead on arrival. That's
a marketing ploy. So all they did was Nvidia wanted to look good in the eyes of gamers. So they said, hey gamers, we know miners are buying all your cards, so here's a set of series of cards just for miners to buy. Like literally that was an entire marketing ploy. That's all it was. And it was such a shame because there's such opportunity there and they just blew it. Let's take an older series card, let's slap it out there and call it a mining card, and it costs a fortune and the hash rate's terrible. It's like that was Nvidia comes off very sleazy to me. It really it has really started to bother me. I mean, my farm is about 12 50, I would say I'm a good about 50% AMD and 50% Nvidia, and I'm kind of proud of that.
Good for you, man. I'll sell you my AMD cards when I'm done with them.
Nice. I'll take it.
Oh my god, I don't want them. I have what do I have? 4 5700s and 3 of the 6700 XTs, and then one dead 5700. But they're just like, that's my only HIVEOS rig, and they restart once a day, and I'm just and Nvidia is so easy. It's so easy.
Yeah, I will say Nvidia is definitely more new miner centric. So like if you're a new miner and somebody's like, hey, what should I do? How do I get started? When you get a card, how do I overclock it? That's really simple and easy. I do enjoy getting into some of the nitty gritty on like configuring with like your core state and your DPM and your memory state and stuff like that. That does go a long way. And you can really get into the tweaks with that. AMD cards, man, they take more work, but I've been really happy with them. I've been lucky. They've been a blessing so far.
Dude, I remember, so I didn't get my first AMD card till the 5700s came out, so I was all NVIDIA. And when I got the AMD card, it was like an alien language to me. I was like, how do I I can't just bump the memory and reduce the
and I'm done.
What is like this flashing tool I have to use and BIOS editing, and what is core voltage? What is that all about? And I was just like, this is crazy. I probably like burned 2 straight days just sitting in my basement with my, I think it was a Power Color 5700 XT, just like learning how it all worked. Man, what a nightmare that was. And then of course, like, I know that wattage isn't the right wattage, so I got to make sure I'm getting the right wattage for this GPU.
True. That is true. Yeah, it definitely is different. I don't mind it, I think, because I started very early on with AMD cards, and like I went with the RX 470s and the 570s. So for me, it's kind of going from, I think it's interesting. If you go from AMD to NVIDIA, it's like a no-brainer and super easy.
Oh yeah.
But if you go from NVIDIA to AMD, you're like, wait, what? Like, how do I do this? Yeah, I definitely agree.
Dude, you can buy for $5,000. You can buy on eBay 12 5700s. You want to go in?
Oh my word. Oh. Some of the man. There's Oh, you gotta be careful. There's people in my Discord that spend way too much money on mining. Like I always kind of respond back like, just be careful. Like I hate to see these people blow this money and expecting. What I try to tell people is, don't expect to make your money back. And that changes, like, wait, what? Like, that just changes the conversation so quickly, because it's like, man, like, this isn't a get rich quick scheme. Like, this really isn't.
Right.
And yes, you have to pay to play. Like, you got to put in the money now in order to make the money later. And it always makes me so nervous when I see these people that drop thousands of dollars, and I'm like, and they always hit you up and they ask you, you know, like, hey, should I buy this? And I'm like, I'm not the right person to answer that, you know. It's like,
yeah,
I really
at least they're not like Chump Change, who bought like scalp price white 3060s
Oh, my
just
word.
so he could have a white 3060 rig that
Yep.
can't mine a full hash rate.
Yep. Oh my word. I know. You know, hey, we all have those purchases that we probably shouldn't have purchased, but we did it anyway. I was listening to their stream they did last night, and Chump Change was presented an opportunity to buy a 3090 for $2,000 at one point.
Oh,
And,
yeah,
and he passed it up. And I was like, dude, we all have those moments. And then like a little bit later, you're like, oh God, you know what I mean? You're like, you gotta be kidding me.
Oh man, you got any questions in your chat you want to roll through?
Let's see here. Usually I have to ask for questions because they're just like chatting on their own over here in their own little world. Let's see here. I'm scrolling up real quick. Do you have one readily available? And I'll try to grab one. Let's see here. We'll open it up for questions. What questions do you have? Yeah, throw them in there. We'll answer some and then we'll close things out. I got a video to edit for tomorrow. So we won't go super long here.
Here's one.
Okay.
Which I haven't dived into, but I'd like to get your thoughts. Have you considered ASICs at all? Do you think that they're worth it for Bitcoin mining?
I think for me, I would consider the ASIC avenue if I had a mining shed. I just couldn't. I'm looking at it from a logistical side of like electric and heat, and I just couldn't support it right now. Like if I got a free ASIC right now, I'd be like, well, crap, what do I do with this thing? I just couldn't financially afford the electricity and the heat that would come off of it. But other than that, I'm at a spot right now where you know, little cash each month towards my mining hobby is fine, but dropping that type of cash is a pretty big investment to me. What about you?
Yeah, I want one just to participate, but I did Fpga mining, which for me feels like it's similar but different from an ASIC. And while that like broke even in ROI and all that stuff, it's essentially a paperweight now. It makes like $1 a day. And it was like a $2,500 machine, you know, a couple years ago. But I would love to be able to mine Bitcoin. Just those machines take so much power, and it's just impossible to get. If somebody sent one me for free, I would stand it up, but I wouldn't be interested in like Litecoin or, you know, Zcash or any of the other ASIC miners. It would just be for Bitcoin, because I believe in that in the long term. But I wouldn't mine at a loss. I'd pay residential electric rates.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. So I'm talking about electric rates. I am in the process. I'm shopping my electric distributor or generator.
Yeah, do that too.
Yeah, and there is a company called Astral Energy, and it's the first time I've seen it. So there's a website for Pennsylvania. I live in Pennsylvania. I don't keep that a secret or anything. And there is a website you could go to, PA Power Switch, and you can put in your info, and then it gives you a list of, you know, what suppliers are out there that you could go with to switch to save money and everything like that. So there is one out there that is unlimited electricity. So it's one set. So it's like a set fee per month. So it's very similar to like your cell phone, you know, bill, like your cell phone bill where you pay X amount versus like now, like we exist in like the way cell phones used to be when we were younger, where it was like, yeah, you pay per like every minute and stuff like that. So it's unlimited. So I sent my last electric bill to them to get a quote to find out. Because right now I think part of that electric bill is like 150 a month. Just my electric bill is significantly more than that, but it's 150 a month for whatever that the distributor line item that you can rate shop. The rest of it you can't rate shop. And if they came back and was like $50 a month, $60 a month, $100 a month, I'd be like sold. Like if I could go to $100 a month for that line and use unlimited electricity, that's going to save me moving forward. So that's the kind of stuff you got to watch for and be cognizant of, because for me, I mean, it's like if there are two things as a miner right now that are constantly on my mind, it is electricity cost and heat disbursement.
Yep, that's it.
those are my limitations. Those are my limitations entirely. And so yeah.
Yeah, man, I really want, Max just brought it up in the chat, Max Voltage. I really want solar, but it's just, I just can't get it unless I take down some of my trees.
Okay.
But I know, like, it's crazy to think, like, when we buy the next house, how I really anticipate that mining will, like, influence the house that I buy. Will it have solar? Can I get solar? Yeah. Will there be, like, maybe a detached garage with already, like, you know, a service ran to it? Like, that's just crazy to think about. Like, but those are the things I'd be like, 2-bedroom, two bath, 5-bedroom, detached garage with electricity ran to it. Pipe dream. Yeah.
So I have solar on my house. I added it. So I moved into my house 2 years ago. And I worked with a company called Sunrun. They're one of the largest solar providers. And I have PPL as my power company. PPL required me to have 12 months worth of electric bills before they would allow them to determine what system I could go with, what size system, because they wanted to see 12 months. Now, this was 2 years ago that I started I knew when I moved into my house, I wanted to go solar. So I already kicked off the conversation. And a year into it, I finally finished up the conversations and provided my electric bills. Now the downside is this is before I got into mining. So I have a 13 kilowatt system, and so on my highest months I was making about 1,800. Which was significantly covering my power per month, which is crazy to think now. Like that would be insane. It would cover everything, and then I would get credit for anything that I didn't use. So now my situation is like I'm upwards of using like 5,000 a month. So what my electric bill looks like is like, I'm just rounding numbers here, guys. 5,000 minus my 1,800 a month. And then that's what I'm billed for, is that remaining amount that I'm billed for right now, because I have a NEM system. What is that? A net electric metering system. So what it does is the electric comes off my solar panels, flows into my house, and is used. And whatever isn't used, which now that I'm mining is everything, and then whatever isn't used is put back into the grid, and the electric company sees as a credit, is how it works. So yeah, it's really nice. But the last thing I wanted to add there was the reason I went with 13 was because in Pennsylvania you can't go more than 110% of your monthly usage. So I can't ever get more than 110%. So I kind of want to revisit the solar thing to see, because right now I have 42 panels on my roof. And I want to see how many more, and I have on my roof, on my garage roof, not a detached garage, but I want to see how much more I can go with that in order to try to bring that down the best I can.
I don't know if anybody's seen or heard of Hut 8, but they're a Bitcoin mining up in Canada.
That's awesome.
And it was talking about solar. They have these little huts, and I just think they're the coolest things, man.
Oh, yeah.
All the miners in there, and then the solar panels on the roof. Man, that's like.
But you know that solar's not taking care of all of that usage, though.
No, but you know what? If you look at other pictures, I'm not sure if they're on their site. There's also.
Do they have solar arrays?
They have the
Like
big windmills.
Oh, they
on
do.
there
Okay.
as well.
Yeah.
So they're, and it's just beautiful. I think if I'd snuck in and just lived in one of those, if they would let me, that'd be so fun.
Yeah. Solar is good. It doesn't make okay, if we're not talking about mining, solar does phenomenal. Like, solar makes complete sense. If you're talking about mining, you need a butt ton of solar panels to cover. I mean, think of it right now.
Oh, yeah.
I have 42 panels on my roof, guys. They're the latest and greatest ones that I could get. I forget what wattage each one is, and it's a 13 kilowatt system, and it's only giving me about 1,800 per month on my peak months. That's not on like December or January. So you can imagine, like, these people that are like, I want to go solar, and they want to put like 20 solar panels on their roof. You're not covering anything, brother. Like, you need a butt ton of solar in order to cover your costs as you start to expand out your farm, honestly. So yes.
Yes. All right. I got one kind of last question.
Yeah.
We got to wrap up
Yep.
soon.
Yep.
And it is, I know you use HIVEOS and I use Awesome Miner, but
Yep.
it is, what is your favorite mining software to use? And I'm curious, did you use anything before you settled on HIVEOS?
I didn't. I came out of the gates on HIVEOS.
Yeah, man, because that could be intimidating. I was intimidated by HIVEOS, even though I've been mining for a while.
Yeah, HIVEOS makes everything look really easy. Believe it or not, in my situation, I'll be honest, I'm a newer miner, as I've talked about. Windows mining on like MSI Afterburner is intimidating to me. Like, I'm actually gonna sit down with Seb Heslow, and him and I are gonna record a video in the near future discussing, like, him giving me like a 101 course. Now I know how to do it, but I want to know how to do it really well. So he's going to give me like a full 101 course. We're going to put a video together on it for the community. Because for Windows mining, it just seems so alien to me. But it's so funny, like, HIVEOS is phenomenal, but then I see people that come from Windows to go to Hive, and they're like, where do I go to do this? Like, I'm just so used to clicking on a batch file and it runs everything for me.
Yeah, I really like HIVEOS, but for reasons I mentioned earlier with the Hive on pool and all that stuff, I just keep rocking Awesome Miner. I'm gonna throw a link. It's a referral link in my chat. If any of you guys are looking for something, they give like a free tier. If you're doing Windows mining, it just even makes it easier.
Yeah.
To manage everything. But then they have like paid. I think they do a subscription now. It's kind of expensive for what it used to be, but if you're just doing like just loading the mining software and doing it real basic, it's probably, I would just say, get Awesome Miner to run one rig for free, and you can see your profitability and stuff right up in the software. It's a nice visual, and there's a lot that you can do with it. And then ultimately, I still would recommend everybody at some point get over to HIVEOS, even though I don't personally use it myself. But maybe you're got a few cards in your Windows PC. I would recommend checking out Awesome Miner. But I've used some other ones in the past, but this is where I've settled. I really think HIVEOS is the best Linux based, and I think if you're going Windows based, Awesome Miner is probably the best one.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. Yeah, I would agree with you. HIVEOS is very in tune with their community, which is great. Like, I DM'd them today on Twitter because I've been monitoring temp so much, and I was like, I would love to have a temp watch guard, where like when a card gets to this temp, do this. Very similar to their the watch guard that they have, the hash rate watch guard they have in place right now. And they were like real quick to respond back to me, like, phenomenal idea, we'll add it to the board, you know, something to talk about. I'm like, perfect. Like, I appreciate that. Like, I should be able to tweet out at a platform developer and them get back to me like that, and really appreciated that. So yes, they're very in tune, and they support content creators a lot. Like, they're always tweeting out videos and stuff like that content creators have done, which is really cool to see.
Yeah. Cool, man. You want to start wrapping this one up?
Yeah. So I think what would be a fun thing for us to do to wrap this up for our communities is, why don't we tell them what's to come from our channel in the next week or two. I have my mine planned out. Do you know what's going to be coming in your channel the next 2 weeks for your community?
I do. I know for sure the next week. So I filmed a couple videos today. So one I have coming out, I'll probably do midweek, is just a what my current strategy is for mining. I did a video
Nice.
about 6 months ago on this, and I just figured I'd do an update. It's just me talking about what I'm doing right now, where my mind is. So I hope you guys enjoy that one. And then I also have one on my 3070 Ti rig where I test ERGO, and I've really found what I think are the best efficiency numbers.
Awesome.
Which I guess like the twist on it all is you can't approach it like you would approach Ethereum mining.
Yep.
Otherwise you're gonna end up really inefficient. So I have that coming up. And then I probably next week have 3080 Ti build, which I think I'm
Ooh.
just going to do 4 GPUs on it because they're so power hungry.
Yeah.
But I'm waiting for some risers and splitters to come in from our buddies at
Ooh.
GPURisers.com.
Nice. What type of
man.
power supplies are you going with those 3080s? What size?
Just got to figure that out a little bit more. I
Yeah.
definitely got to get some more server PSUs. I have one left. But
you buy like I do, like you buy a few at a time because you know you're gonna use them. So when you find a deal, you got to get them. I did that with server power supplies. I still got a handful left with breakout boards, and bought a bunch of them when they were like $40 each.
Yeah,
I was like, heck yeah.
I think like Parallel Miner's been out of them for a while now.
Yeah.
And that's where I usually get them from. So
Yeah, I've done Amazon for both the breakouts and the power supplies, but I was really fortunate to get like the 1200 watt HPs for like $40 when I bought a bunch of them.
yeah,
So I've been really lucky with that. So on my side of the tracks, I'm gonna have a number of videos out on my crypto mining basement update. It's been about 5 to 6 weeks since I've had any videos out on it, because I've just been diving deep into getting that work done. Those of you guys not familiar, just joining us, I've been renovating my own basement, and I am not a tradesman at all. So like I work in the tech industry, and this is completely outside my scope of comfort. So I put in about 3 hours a week total on it. I moved all my rigs into my mining room, so I'm going to be having some videos on that, some things that went well, some challenges I'm running into. I'm slowly I'm doing a video on about a card a week, getting in about a new card every week at this point, which is lining me up for great growth. I think some people have noticed too that I've started to partner with some sponsors over the last few weeks, so I've got some videos coming out here and there. My biggest one is a grow tent company that I've partnered with, and I'm excited to go down that route. I wish they approached me like 3 months ago. So I'm gonna do an entire series on grow tents from a beginner's perspective, building them, setting up a rig in them. So I already came up with an idea of how I'm going to exhaust that, because like everything's built in my basement right now. I'm not putting more holes in the side of my house, so I do have a window, so I'm going to utilize the window with some of that coming down the road here. And so other than that, I do have a video coming out on like service and maintenance. I get a lot of demand for that. Graphics cards, like how should I service these? How should I maintenance them? You know, how do I keep up with them? So yeah. Lot coming. Granted, I come out with a video 5 days a week, so I have a lot planned.
You're a monster.
It's a lot. This weekend, I did not optimize my time appropriately. Usually over a weekend, I'll try to get 5 videos recorded. I got 1. So it was a bad weekend. So that means now that like tomorrow night, I got to double down. And then, you know, to really get them lined up, because the best feeling in the world as a content creator is when you're putting out a lot of videos per week is you have the week scheduled out. And it's like the best feeling in the world. I had that when I went on vacation 2 weeks ago, and it was phenomenal to be like, wow, I don't have to work on thumbnails. I don't have to work on videos. They schedule and they drop.
Yeah, man. You guys don't know how hard this can be sometimes, getting all this stuff out there, but I'm sure hobbyists just like me, we love doing it, and we love hanging with all of you. So
definitely. So why don't you give a shout out as to where people can find you, your YouTube channel, you know, social stuff like that, and then I'll do the same, just so people can find us in different spots, and then we'll kind of close things out.
Yeah, I already threw up your YouTube channel in the chat here, so guys,
do that.
If you're not already, which I imagine almost everybody is, go subscribe to the Hobbyist Miner.
Oh, thank you.
On YouTube. I threw my Discord up in there, so if you guys want to join, we can continue any of these conversations in my Discord. If you have any questions, we can do that. I'll throw my Twitter account in there as well. I like to do just like kind of short videos on Twitter.
Nice.
Not
Smart.
edited, something I'm just doing that's a couple minutes long, so you can find some content there too. But that's all the places that you can find me.
Excellent. My side, I'll do the same thing. I just threw your link up in there, which is great in chat. Twitter and YouTube. Twitter is the Hobbyist Miner, and I'm sorry, is Hobbyist Miner. They wouldn't let me use the Hobbyist Miner. It's like too many characters or something. So YouTube or Twitter is Hobbyist Miner, and YouTube is the Hobbyist Miner, which the Hobbyist Miner is pretty much my branding on everything. I threw a link in my Discord for my Discord community if you guys want to join it as well. But other than that, this was fun. The Fox and Gnome show right here, folks.
Fox and Gnome.
Phenomenal. It was a good time. It was a good time just kind of hanging out and kind of speaking our minds and chatting about some of the latest and greatest news. Was a good time, definitely.
Yeah, you guys let us know if you'd like us to do something like this in the future again.
Yeah, definitely.
It was a ton of fun. Sorry if we didn't get to everything in chat. It's a lot to manage, as we've just uncovered.
Yep.
But join our Discords, throw comments in the comment section of these videos, and I'm sure me and Hobbyist will get back to you on every single one. But yeah, this is a blast.
Perfect way to end it. Alrighty, guys. Thank you guys very much for joining us today. Don't forget to like all these videos and subscribe to them. And we'll see you guys next time. Take care.
Peace.